to Second Take. I'm Eric Parker. This is Dan the Man, Maureen the Queen, Zia the Realist, and Carly Horse. And today we're going to be discussing a couple of topics. First topic is going to be Jay Cutler and his career over the 9 years. The second topic is going to be the case going on in Missouri. The third topic will be the Patriots and the Giants matchup. And the final topic will be the University of Houston Cougars. Go Cougars.
Go Cougs.
Hashtag Cutler Clips. Jay Cutler's coming off his 24th career win over game-winning drive over the San Diego Chargers, which handed them their 5th consecutive loss. The final score of the game was 22-19. So the big question around the league is, how do we feel about Jay Cutler? Carly, let's take it away.
Okay, so on ESPN's First Take, Stephen A. Smith was basically saying that Jay Cutler is a nobody quarterback. He's just average. He's not making any great plays, really. And everyone's hyping him up because he had one good game. And Stephen A. Smith just thinks he's completely mediocre along with his team, and that the Chargers and the Bears shouldn't be playing on Monday Night Football. While It Bayless thinks that, he's a complete fanboy of Jay Cutler. And he thinks that he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He thinks that he's one of the most athletic quarterbacks in the league. And basically they're just going at it, and yeah.
I'm going to have to go with Stephen A. on this one. Jay Cutler, you have good quarterbacks in this league and you have elite quarterbacks in this league. And there's a complete difference between the two. Jay Cutler's team is 4-5. If you look back in the past, all elite quarterbacks have winning seasons. They take their teams to the playoffs, the Super Bowl, and that's the main objective of the NFL, is to get to the Super Bowl. And if you have a quarterback that's barely winning games, has a mediocre season, probably is winning only maybe half the 16 games of the regular season, then you're not a good quarterback. He's had weapons like Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Matt Forte, 3 Pro Bowlers. They're not. It's not like he's never had anyone to throw to. Or yeah, just like this year. This year's going to be mediocre again. They're not going to get to the playoffs. It's always a rebuilding season for the Chicago Bears. Jay Cutler isn't a part of the process. He's a part of the problem. He's not good. He's a turnover machine. He throws interceptions left and right. He's always fumbling the ball. He's not a Tom Brady. He's not a Peyton Manning or an old Peyton Manning. He's just not clutch.
You said Cutler isn't clutch, but he's tied for third in NFL fourth quarter comebacks with Peyton Manning and behind Matt Ryan and Tony Romo. Also, he has no supporting cast. The first round draft pick, Kevin White, isn't playing right now for whatever reasons. Matt Forte, Alshon Jeffrey is constantly injured, so they're gone. So he's basically playing with a second string offense, and the O-line is really questionable right now. And the fact that he can pull through these games and win, that shows that he is clutch. Also, he's an average size quarterback and he can run through people easily.
I feel you.
So, when he first came into the league, Jay Cutler wowed everybody. He's throwing up more reps than offensive linemen on the bench press. He's running, like a 4.6, 4.7, in the 40. The guys, he's got all the measurables. He is one of these athletes that people have a lot of expectations for. The problem is he doesn't come out. He doesn't fit the mold that they want the quarterback to take. He doesn't play their game. He is who he is. And so Stephen A. doesn't like him. Why? Because he's not what a quarterback's supposed to be. Skip Bayless is looking at certain measurables and he says, yeah, he's a phenomenal quarterback. The truth, probably somewhere in between. Why? He's got skills, but is he actually leading the team? It's hard to say. He doesn't have a great supporting cast around him. But at the same time, it's not necessarily fair the way you say, well, he had a Pro Bowl or he had this. Well, yeah, there was injuries and there's a lot of issues around the Bears. It's a poorly run organization, has been for years. To say that he's not leading them to greatness, it's probably kind of a heavy weight for a guy to carry, So in the end, he's probably a little more clutch. Bayless might have some things, but Stephen A. is just not being fair to the guy and what he's doing. And that's something I think that we all have to consider.
Great point.
So you think Stephen A. is too harsh and Bayless is too soft with him?
I think, yeah, I think there's going to be some leadership issues with Jay Cutler. He's not somebody who steps up and rallies the team. But at the same time, does that have to be his job? So, he should be a leader. He's the quarterback. The quarterback touches the ball every play. The quarterback is the guy that, he's the team, right? But that's just not who Jay Cutler is. Somebody like Stephen A., he doesn't like him. Why? He leads comes in second over however many years to Eli Manning for interceptions. He's a turnover machine, like you say. It's because he takes chances. After the game, he's not like, hey, I'm sorry I took those chances. He's like, you know what? It didn't work out. So what? Move on. If his team's winning, if he's going to the Super Bowl, you can say, yeah, he's got a cavalier attitude. The guy comes on a mediocre team, everybody says, well, the guy's got a terrible attitude. So,
Well, I mean, I understand what Skip is trying to say, that, yeah, he has, good games where he's just putting out a bunch of points, throwing a bunch of yards and stuff, but what Stephen A. is trying to say is longevity-wise, he's not elite. There's a big difference. Are we talking about years, or are we talking about certain games? If we're talking about certain games, yes, he has a good game every once in a while. But if we're talking about careers, he's not clutch. He's not.
So was Marino a great quarterback? Because he had a couple of great seasons. He never won a Super Bowl. He's Hall of Fame, right?
That's true.
What's the measure? Does he get out there and he slings it? He does everything a quarterback
But
needs to
Marino
do.
was breaking records. Cutler isn't.
Marino had a personality people liked. Cutler leads the Bears in attempts, completions, yards, and touchdowns.
What else is there?
Huh?
What else is there?
Wins.
And that's and at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Sure.
That's a team
But the Bears
thing.
is a flawed organization. And
That's a team thing. It takes a
Right.
team to win, not just a quarterback. Although he should be the leader, which he is, but still. And it
come on.
takes a whole team to win a game, not just a quarterback.
But
No,
longevity.
but you
No, but
need a
no.
quarterback to
Longevity.
win a game.
No one's gonna remember that. He
Cut the clutch, conversation over.
We'll be right back after these messages. I deserve a raise.
You don't deserve
I am
this.
completely qualified.
Never.
You're not giving me this job because I'm a woman and you know it.
I'm not giving you the job because you don't
No,
have
you're
it.
wrong. Are you tired of arguing and having discussions that go absolutely nowhere? Well, oh boy, do we have the solution for you. Introducing Houston Sword Sports, where you get to settle your discussions and arguments with steel. You're wrong. You know what? You want to go?
Yeah, I'll go.
I'll go. Houston Sword Sports. When negotiations fail, settle it with steel. Hope you enjoyed your messages. Now back to the show.
The 8-0 New England Patriots facing the 5-4 New York Giants. The Patriots were favored to win by 7 points and stay undefeated. The question was, what are the chances of the Giants beating the Patriots? Carly, take it away.
Well, the Giants did in fact lose to the Patriots, unfortunately.
But they covered.
That's true. Anyway, so Bayless is a diehard Patriots fan. And he basically thinks that Eli Manning is the weirdest quarterback as well as the luckiest quarterback in NFL history.
Which he is.
He really is. He's very lucky. Stephen A.
And
Smith.
weird.
And weird. Stephen A. Smith thinks that, Bayless just hasn't recovered from his losses in the Super Bowl to the Giants because he's a major Patriots fan. And that, you need to respect Eli Manning because he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. And so that's where we're at right now.
I'm gonna have to agree with Skip on this one because Eli just gets lucky, just like he did in the Super Bowl.
Sure, but the thing is some of the things he has with Skip has with Eli, is the same things, well, Cutler is kind of detached and above the game and doing that thing, and then, you can't tell what Eli's thinking. Well, so that's that same sort of detachment. He's kind of changing his argument because he likes one quarterback, not so much the other.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know. Then he's kind of hanging that whole thing then on the Giants.
Tom Brady might be the greatest of all time, though.
He's in the running. You know, I mean, that can't be denied. But it's, again, to go back to the comments with Cutler and the Bears, it's a team thing, right? And so we're making it about the quarterbacks again, and that seemed to be kind of what their discussion was.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, they could have an undefeated season.
They could, yeah, but I mean,
And they
I'm
plan
sure.
on, and it looks like, from the looks of it, it looks like they might do it. Last time, the Giants ended their perfect season with that Super Bowl win, and I feel like Tom Brady's out for revenge this time. He has a chip on his shoulder after Deflategate, after the rulings that Roger Goodell put on him. He's coming back for it. And Eli's just Eli. He doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. He's not.
So,
I feel like he has a chip. I feel like he definitely has a chip on his shoulder. He just doesn't express it as much.
He shows no emotion, which is why he's one of the weirdest quarterbacks, personally.
well, he's weird because I don't know if you've seen him in most of his commercials, but
I
this
love
guy
his
just-
commercials. I love him and his brother's commercials.
And,
I love
and
Peyton
they
in those
absolutely both come off as just a little bit off.
Love it.
Sure.
How much?
Not a fan
How
of
much?
either one, so.
How much is that acting, Hollywood, and how much is that real life?
Probably all real, and I love it.
I think you probably take that sort of thing and you work with what you've got. I think, these guys aren't coming up for an Oscar anytime soon. I think if they come off with a little bit weird, you probably maybe try and work that into the commercial a little bit. But, I don't know. Peyton and Eli both seem just a little bit off. Just not your regular kind of guy, which you probably need to be an elite level quarterback. But
Eli's just a risk taker. He's gonna take his risk, and if he doesn't get it, then he's done. He's gonna shrug it off, and he's gonna be like, all right, I'll try it again next time. And if it works,
sure, which, go
Well,
ahead.
that's true, because in his Super Bowl wins in 2007 and 11, he had the most turnovers of his seasons.
that's true. Because in between his Super Bowl wins, he's had, what are the numbers? 10, 14, 16, 15, and 14 turnovers. While during his Super Bowl wins, he takes the most
21,
risks.
25.
Exactly. So maybe he should be more of a risk taker and keep shrugging everything off.
That's
I
his
think it
thing.
works out for
He
him.
should- He stick with it.
Sure, but to go back to when they were talking about the Giants' chances to beat the Patriots, so you're looking then, is risk-taking Eli going to show up and maybe sling it a little bit, get one of those lucky completions, hand on top of the head, pinning the ball there? Or are you going to be looking more at,
Conservative.
Tom Coughlin playing a conservative game plan, And I don't really think, they're talking about two things, but really they just sort of focus on Eli Manning
And Tom Brady.
and not so much, well, they don't talk about Tom Brady in this bit. They talk about Eli Manning. They make the whole bit about Eli Manning
Because-
and what kind of quarterback he is
To defeat
instead
the
of,
Patriots.
we're trying to be talking about the odds of the Giants. With football,
Football.
They
I
should have
tell
talked
you
about
about
both
the
teams.
drunk at the bar
They
last
should
night.
have talked
It was
Yes.
all like,
Tom Brady should have been in the
Football.
conversation.
Conversation over with. At the end of the day, Giants came out, they lost the game. Patriots won by 1 point. That's all that has to be said about the whole conversation. We'll see how the season ends up for both. How about them Cougs though?
University of Houston had easily, in my opinion, one of the best comebacks that I've ever witnessed in my entire life. They were down by 20 in the fourth quarter against Memphis, and they came back and won the game 34-35. It was
What was that?
unbelievable.
What was that statistic that you found out
So
about?
ESPN put out a tweet saying that so far the teams that have been down, so far this season, teams down by 20 going into the fourth quarter have been 0-261. So we're the first one this season to pull that off.
No kidding.
Clutch team.
Clutch team. Clutch
City.
City.
There you
H-Town
go.
takeover.
There it is.
That's pretty good.
They had a 2.7% chance going into the fourth quarter to win, and they beat those odds. That's pretty
That's
unbelievable.
impressive.
Even with the starting quarterback getting out in the first
Very
quarter.
yeah,
true,
Greg
yeah.
Ward,
Greg
man.
Ward went down in
And
the second
actually, it was
quarter.
the third string quarterback that was put in.
Third string?
Yes.
Third string. That's unbelievable.
You know what?
And a
Where's
couple
Step.
second string receivers, maybe not all O-linemen, but they still pulled through.
University of Houston plays Connecticut next.
Yeah.
The record is
Connecticut's 5 and
5 and 5.
5.
So they probably have a pretty good chance beating Connecticut, you'd say, right?
Oh, for sure.
That's going to be a tough game just because mentally they're probably so hyped. You know, it's going to be really
They
hard
can't
for the
get
team
caught.
to stay focused and kind of lock
And
in
the
on
way
the
that,
next
that
play.
UH plays in the first half, I wouldn't chill too much
Terrible.
on them. They're two different teams in the first half and the second half. Obviously, as you can see.
Connecticut's also coming off a bye week too, so they have a bit of rest. They're planning something for the Cougars.
And everybody wants the undefeated team, of course.
It's very
They have
true.
a giant target on UH's back, so hopefully
Still,
They
the
got some-
team's been playing rock solid. I think exceeded everybody's expectations this year.
It's good for the city.
I like their odds.
Yeah.
I like their odds.
Texans aren't doing too much for
Very good for the city.
Houston.
Yeah.
You know the Rockets.
Hope the Rockets can get something going this year.
Whose house?
Cougs
house. We'll be right back after these messages. Are you having depression due to your college team sucking so bad? Is it hard for you to face the fact that you got embarrassed in front of almost 40,000 people? Is it just unbearable to admit that the University of Houston Cougars are the greatest football team that ever was? Are you Justin Fuente? If so, there's certified therapists to be there for you through it all. To be by your side and to help you through the pain with a tremendous amount of patience and understanding to ensure that you are being taken care of and that your problems don't go unheard. Counseling for terrible coaches. 1-800-555-5555. You are not alone. Again, 1-800-555-5555. I'm just here so I don't get fined. Hope you enjoyed your messages. Now back to the show.
J.J. Watt is huge, and we are now coming to you from our backup location.
University of Missouri President Tim Wolf and Chancellor R. Bowen Lofton both resigned Monday following the student protest on racial slurs. 30 black football players refused to participate in football activities until Wolf was removed. What impact do you all think this will have moving forward?
Okay, so Ryan Clark is one of the guest appearances on First Take, and he was basically saying that this was a huge risk for the football players to take in not wanting to play. But it was a very courageous decision that they made, and making that decision, the chancellor and the president ended up stepping down, and basically it was a huge win for Missouri as a state racially, because they've been having all these issues with Ferguson and stuff. And Smith basically said he didn't want to talk about this conversation because he always has a different side of things. Most of the community is doing things that are in no way representing the pioneers before us, is what Smith was saying. Basically, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Jonathan Butler, the football team, and Coach Pinkel represented the pioneers. They wouldn't have been as successful if the, quote, white people that Smith used hadn't joined in.
I think what you've got here is, Smith, he's got a point. It's hard for somebody to kind of set up and step up and criticize a movement like this. This is a movement that needs to happen. Clark's right, it is a huge win for the state of Missouri. It's a courageous thing these football players did. It's hard for people to come out and really discuss and have a conversation because it's just so charged. There's so much anger really kind of floating around about the entire race issue in this country still.
I mean, it's hard for, as a faculty member, Gary Pinkel's perspective, to join in with his players, going against what the president is saying and what he's doing, it's a huge step in the right direction for Missouri and the University of Missouri, I feel like.
So do we all feel like that the step down by the president and the chancellor, do we feel like that was more so just because they felt that was their responsibility, that was their obligation as the president and chancellor, or do we think that it had a lot to do with the football team saying that they weren't going to play? Because you got to think about it. If the football team isn't playing, and not getting a lot of money. That's
You're
gonna
probably
be
gonna have more protests.
Well, definitely it's because the football players weren't playing. I feel like alumni, supporters, people who donate probably put pressure on them to step down.
I mean, Jonathan Butler too, though, you know, thinking about their decisions and Jonathan Butler, if he doesn't eat, you know, like, that is on them, because if they don't step down, like, he's gonna starve to death. And they're gonna have to live with that for the rest of their lives.
If it was only Jonathan Butler and not the football team, do you think they would have stepped down? Because it's like one person against like a whole football
That's
team.
what,
You
that's
know,
a
the
human
thing
rights
is, he's
though.
been on a hunger strike since November 2nd, and they stepped down last Monday, which was the 10th, so that's 8 days.
It's a long time.
It's a week. It's a week he's on that hunger strike, and then finally the football team says that, makes that statement, and all of a sudden the media catches on and pressure comes to bear. So probably no, they don't resign without that, and that's kind of probably going to go down a tragic road without it. But there's a long history of athletes using this kind of podium, literally in the case of the 86 Olympics with the Black Power salute by the U.S. track team following that, I believe it was the 200 meter. But you know, this is something, those guys paid a huge price for that. Muhammad Ali lost his Olympic gold medal. And, you know, and so there's just this huge history with the athletes kind of making these efforts, and so it's good to see that that's continuing with the football team there.
Yeah, we should salute these young men for stepping up and doing that. That was pretty courageous for them.
Yeah, like a very educated way of doing it too. Instead of being violent and going out and do what
Exactly.
Missouri really does when they have issues.
Right. Hey guys, it's Carly off of Second Take. I just want to let you guys know that we really enjoyed making the show for you guys. We will be talking next week about whether USA is going to qualify for the World Cup, even though they are still in the top of their qualifying group, and even though they tied Trinidad and Tobago. And will the Houston Rockets even make the playoffs this year, because they're not doing too hot right now. Also, who will win the NCAA football championship this year? I don't know. Let us know. Tweet us at Second Take. So,
You're not recording yet, right?
No, I totally am. I told you guys. All right, Carly.
can I go?
Yeah.
Yeah, just gotta hair flip it. Looking good.
What's up?
Ready, go. Put your paper down. It's
I
like-
can't. All right, wait. Are you still recording?
Yeah, I have all of this. I can edit it all out. Sorry, go now, go now, go now. It's okay, go now, go now, go now. And guys, everyone sit up and look professional.
Okay, let me know. I'm gonna record it as well. Okay.
No one's gonna remember that.
Because the
Maybe should have been a
Football.
conversation of
Ready, set, go.
Wait, are we leaning back?
I don't know, just do you, just go.
Get back on that horse, man. You can do it.
How about them cool?
Whose house?
Whose house?